is popular for his alternative lifestyle, political views, television productions, and bike styles. Our guest today is a singer, songwriter, television presenter, publisher, and one of Nigeria's most controversial entertainers. Even though he was born to a very prominent Nigerian, he has allowed his struggle define his person, making him king of the streets. You will meet him after this break. This is the Sunday Interview. I'm Jokeli Jadu. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. Our guest today is a popular face. It's a mix of several things all rolled into one. And of course, not to forget the long list of names. You may want to call him Area Father. His royal punkness, Nigeria's Boy George. He's also referred to as the President General of all bike riders in Nigeria. He is Charles Chukwuemeka Oputa, popularly known as CharlyBoy. You're welcome to the program.
See, as you introduce me now, you know, say, well, don't start.
So let me start. I'm going to start like this. Away from what we know about CharlyBoy, who is Charles Oputa?
The person you see sitting in front of you, you've come to my CharlyBoy's hideout, but this is Mr. Oputa. You see how bare and how simple and how overly normal.
So tell me, what was growing up like for you?
What I remember about my growing up years were pleasant memories, you know. I was, of course, a spoiled brat, always quarreling with the status quo in the house, you know. And I got whipped a lot because of all of that. But
I can imagine.
yeah, but I guess my parents overfed us with morality, strong character, values that are non-existent today, and always encouraged us to speak up and speak out.
Growing up, who are some of the people that you would say that influenced you, shaped you, you know, formed the man that you've become now?
I can't really put my finger on it. I guess I was inspired by, you know, all the people I was privileged to meet, you know, all the people I read about, all the people, you know, I played with. I didn't have a role model per se like that, you know. And I admired at different times in my life. I admired different things. At the time, I wanted to really be a priest, and that's because of the too much religiosity that was going on in my house at the time. For the first 23, 24 years, it was always going to church, altar boy, morning mass, catechism, and all of that, you know. And I thought it was fun at the time. I think when I was about 22, 21, yeah, that I wanted to be a priest. I did 6 months or so in the seminary, and figured, oh, maybe I move on to something else. Yeah, yeah.
So were your parents disappointed that you left the seminary at the time?
No, no. My parents encouraged each and every one of us to just be the best of who we can be, you know. Though I don't think they had in mind me becoming a priest, but when they saw I was veering towards that direction, I don't know, I guess my father was tickled, and to a great extent, he encouraged it.
So let's talk about your favorite food. So we wanted to
food. I'm not a food kind of person. I'm more fruit kind of person. And my favorite food, okay, if I have to give you something, it will be rice. I eat a lot of rice. I eat a lot of rice. I eat a lot of beans, you know.
You're close to 70 and you look...
Chineke, it's a lie. Don't say that.
You're more than 65. You'll be 66.
No. I'm 65.
Okay, 65. You'll be 66 later this year. That's close to 70. That's closer to 70 than 60.
Okay. So, did you have to say it that way?
So, but you still obviously look amazingly good for your age.
Thank you.
So there has to be a secret. What's the secret?
I don't engage in negative habits. The only one that I'm engaged with is so shameful. I don't know how I go talk them. And I'm not saying it so people can go and be copying me because it's a bad habit. I quit it for almost 10 years. Now I'm back to it. I don't like myself for that. That's the only bad habit I have. And that's nicotine. I smoke cigarettes. And it's not good for, I know it's not good for me. It's not good for anybody, you know. I don't drink. I watch what I eat. I don't let anything really stress me out like that. Anything that looks like stress, I will run. I just leave that thing alone.
Would you describe yourself as a romantic person? Someone who has any form of romance?
I used to be into romance before, but condition no green is roads.
What's the condition?
Because things are not like they're supposed to be for any hardworking Nigerian, even for you, Papa. You know, I mean, we could all be doing better if we had a better environment, if we had better leadership, and if also we were not that ignorant. Okay.
So romance is expensive.
Of course. So, but sometimes my wife slaps me out of it. Sometimes I'm blackmailed into it. You know, women have all kinds of ways they extract things from you.
So let me ask you: did you go, set out to carve this niche of the identity, this identity that you have, the CharlyBoy identity, the Royal Pungness identity, the area father identity? Did you go set out to carve this niche for yourself, or it was just? I
think I was making it up along the way. It's not something I went somewhere to plan, and no, I was making it up, and for the fact that I had a different taste board, I wanted to do things differently. Just quickened the phenomenon everybody has come to know as CharlyBoy.
Did your late father approve?
Initially, no. They weren't too sure what it was all about. And they knew that I was not only a stubborn and restless soul, but they knew that I was a deep spirit. So they thought that I would go in the line of something in their head more conservative, not something out there in your face like a freak, you know. But I've been through so many stages, and now I'm here, and now I'm cool. And now I'm at peace.
So let's talk. Let me talk about your relationship with Tina. I remember that I was a lot younger when she had cancer, and you were at the forefront of the campaign, to get funds for us to, get her treatments and all.
Oh, you remember all that?
Yes, I was very young then, but I remember watching the CharlyBoy show, and it was, something that you were really passionate about. Tell me how, what kind of influence Tina had over you.
Oh, Tina had a big, huge influence on me. My life wouldn't be complete without her involvement, I started the creation of CharlyBoy in the village. Yeah, after I did my youth corps. Only me one fit enter village. When my mates, they go to cities, to go to, you know, look for a better life, I went into the village because I just couldn't take my parents yapping and yapping. I was poor. I didn't have anything, so I decided to start from the village. After spending 8 years in the village, that stripped me of my confidence, my self-esteem and everything, you know. And all of a sudden, one of my trips to Lagos, in coming to promote my music work, I met Tina, and that's how our friendship started. And I remember I used to be Tina's puppy, because she was more or less telling me, this is how we do this, this is how we're going to do this, you know. And all I did was yes, 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 yes. And the beauty of it was she encouraged me, she brought me out of the village and brought me to Lagos. And that's when everything I was doing about the brand CharlyBoy took off, as soon as I came to Lagos. So I owe that to her, the early formation of the brand, giving me an idea exactly what I wanted to do with it and all of that. And we were very, very close. A lot of people thought she was my wife, or we're having an affair, or anything. All of that is true. Everything is true. Everything they say about they said about me and Tina, all true.
So the time at the village, those 8 years you spent there, what are lessons you would say that you picked up?
Oh yes, I knew how poor people lived because I was poor. I didn't have anything. I started doing musical studio. That didn't work out. In the village, what is it? From there, I started doing, you know, a booker. I won't call it a restaurant. It was just a drinking joint, just to keep body and soul together. I remember for 2-3 years, my wife had to travel because, like I said, that was my first experience with poverty. I've never been poor in my life. I've always had everything I wanted, you know. And to have all of that and to start to be stubborn enough to create your own path, I think is something very noble, something that you don't see young people doing these days. Because I said to myself then, I mean, there are people who don't have parents, who don't have people to, you know, to care for them, but yet some of them become successful. So how do they do it? Everything, it's not about where you're coming from, it's about who you are, where you're going, and what you want to make out of your life. And that's why I have this affinity with poor people, underprivileged people, people suffering injustice, you know. And I think that's what I want to do with the rest of my life. Keep advocating, keep fighting the injustice wherever I see it.
So seeing what you're passionate about, you know, making a change, helping, you know, people find a voice, what would you say inspires you? Because, you know, it's kind of funny that you left all the affluence, you know, your father was a legal luminary in this country, and then you decided that all this is not worth it. I would rather, you know, stay with this on the side of the coin. What would you say? I
think that was what my father really admired about me. I was so proud about me because he was the same way too. I mean, with his judgment, his time at the bench, you know, he couldn't stand injustice of any kind. And of course, everybody knew that he was as straight as a whistle. He was a man of integrity. They don't make them like that anymore. And if anybody thinks that an apple can fall too far from the tree, well, they got it all wrong, because it takes a great father to make a great son like me.
let's talk about the CharlyBoy show, Zoom Time. They make, my youthful day very, 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 very interesting. I had a lot of fun watching CharlyBoy show, the Kids show, Zoom Time, and I'm sure a lot of people had, such interesting times. What inspired those shows for you?
I don't know, the stuff to do something different, do something entertaining, but at the same time, pass serious messages. We're always doing satire about the political, our political environment at the time, and I think what got people glued on to the show was all the razzmatazz and the crazy stuff like the candid camera, and our funny debate. It was mostly a comedy kind of show that addressed serious issues, but in a very playful and offhanded manner. Yeah. So I don't know, I'm not quite sure if I've gotten into the retirement mode, actually. I'm still trying to figure it out. But what I want to do with the rest of my life is to be an advocate. The thing that had tricked me since, standing up for the less privileged, keep talking about the things I find wrong in the society, and then hoping that I could mold even just 100 CharlyBoys who could take the message out there, create awareness, because I feel that the docility of young people is becoming too much. Their future has been stolen. They're not doing anything about that. They've imbibed all the wrong values, and the leaders and the elders didn't help any. They set the wrong kind of examples for this, young people whose future has been stolen. So what really drives me, what really I'm passionate about, is to see how, as a social engineer, how I keep trying to build a new normal, creating a set of young people who are focused, who believe in self, who believe in hard work, who believe in some of those values of old that seems foolish, conservative, and you'll be seen as a nerd, So that's what I'm doing. Hence, the campaign I'm involved with, Our Mumu Don't Do. And that is reawakening the Nigerian youth to their responsibility for them to understand that they are part of nation building. And if they don't start to choke their eyes there.
Something about it now.
Yeah, because already they're dealing with a stolen future. Okay, you keep hearing, the youth are the future of tomorrow. Which kind of youth? This one where they see?
All right, we're going on a short break now. When we come back, we'll still be talking about Our Mumu Don't Do with CharlyBoy. Stay with us.